Hello, beautiful souls. You're listening to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. Did you know that you can listen to this show everywhere podcasts are found? It's true. Now, I have three free gifts just for you. First gift, I give away a new reading each week to a person who's left a 5-star positive review of this show, then submitted it to me using the contact form at theangelmedium.com/contact. I hope I'm calling your number next. Second gift, if you'd like a new daily angel message, join me on Insta at Angel Podcast. Third free gift. If you'd like to know the name of one of your guardian angels so that you can work with them even more closely, go to the homepage of my website, theangelmedium.com, and submit your contact info at the very top. I'll email you back personally with the name of one of your angels. Okay, as we begin the show, I want you to feel the presence of your angels surrounding you. And just know that the loving, positive messages you resonate with today are messages for you from your angels and loved ones on the other side. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. Friends, today we're here with Michelle, who has some beautiful angel stories to share. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm going to have you take it away and share your first story.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So back in 2010, I went into labor early at 22 weeks and had my son Dalton. And I was actually in Illinois. I live in Indiana. So I was on a business trip and I went into labor. So let me give you a little background first, and because that leads into my second story. So when he was born, he lived for 4 days. And during that time, the doctors had told us come day 3 that there wasn't much they could do. So it was up to us to decide to leave him on all the ventilation and all that, or if we wanted to take him off of life support and just let it be. And I really struggled with that because of my faith and believing in miracles and all that stuff. I really struggled, but me and my husband at the time sat down with the family and decided that the best thing to do, based on what the doctors told us, was to take him off and just let things be. So, that being said, the next morning he passed. We were driving home, which is a 3-hour drive, and my husband and I always used to play the slug bug game. So whenever we would see a slug bug, we tap each other on the shoulder and say, hey, there's a yellow or red or whatever. Well, anyways, on the way home that day, that 3-hour drive, there was probably 50 slug bugs. No joke. We've seen so many. And out of that, half of them were yellow. So yellow became my color. And I don't know why at the time. Now I do, because yellow represents hope. So I know why now, but at the time I didn't. So anyways, yellow became our color. We used that when we bought flowers for the funeral and all that stuff. So that being said, since then, throughout the years, anytime anything major has happened in our life, mine or my ex-husband's now, but his life, it's like we would always see yellow slug bugs, and they would come in threes. And so it's like going on vacation between here and wherever we're going. Could be a 3-hour drive, could be a 12-hour drive. We would just see 3 and no more than that. And that still happens. So I always represent the yellow slug bug with my son. So anyway, that became my sign for my kid, is my yellow slug bug. So that's basically my first story, is that I see those all the time. And it's like, I just know that it's him telling me, hey, things are going to be okay, Mom. You know, everything's fine. So that's basic. Yeah, that's my first one, is the yellow slug bugs. And I still, till this day, I still see them. If I have a question, I'll ask my question. And it's like, if I see the yellow bug, I know, hey, my answer is yes. If I don't see one, then the answer is no. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah. So another thing is dragonflies. And so after my son died, we would be out playing disc golf, or frisbee golf, as some people call it. and just dragonflies would come around. They would land on her hand. They would land on my mom's hand when she would be with us. But we see a lot of dragonflies. And so I was questioning that at first, but the story I'm about ready to tell just totally sealed the deal. And it's like now when I see dragonflies, I think of my son. So let's go forward. And I was telling you about my faith. And in 2015, my husband and I got divorced. And so I felt at that time that that was all I had left, tying me to my son. And I didn't know, I was still grieving. It had been almost 5 years at that time. 2016 rolls around, and my friend came to me early in the year around March. And she's like, hey, she goes, I've never lost a child, but I can see it in you that this is killing you inside. I mean, it's hurting you. You need to let go. You need to let your grief go. You got more than just, your grief. And I didn't feel that because I felt like all that I had was gone. I had my husband, my two dogs at the time, they were both gone. I had nothing. So I felt like all I had left was my grief. And I wanted to hold on to that. I got to thinking about it. I got to praying about it. And right before my son's birthday in June, I decided, hey, you know what? I don't need this. It is hurting me. And so I decided to finally let go. And we planned it. I planned it all out that on the weekend and the day of his birthday, which was June 15th in 2016, I decided I was going to let go. So we had it all planned out. So I go to work that morning and I've been praying and listening to my favorite radio station at the time, which was K-Love, and all kinds of Christian songs came on. But this one particular song just resonated with me, and that was In the Eye of the Storm. And it just hit me, and I just started bawling. And I'm like, this is the eye of the storm, and I am going to make it through. I'm going to be okay. And so I prayed that I would see a sign. And so I was thinking yellow slug button. That's not what happened. So I go to work, I'm working, and I work for Frito-Lay, so I deliver chips. So went to a couple stops, still no sign, still no sign. It was coming down to like my last stop of the day. And I was driving 55 miles an hour down the highway, and out of the blue, the largest dragonfly I have ever seen, larger than my hand, landed right in the windshield, right in front of me. And it went and turned its little head and looked at me, and then it flew away. And I start bawling. I'm like, that's my kid. That's my sign. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I get to my next stop and I call my friend. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. So I was telling her about it, and she, was crying. And so that was my dragonfly. So the day goes on. We go to church that night. After church, we decide, hey, we're going to go out to the cemetery. We're going to let our lanterns off. And I wrote a letter to my son, and I had a lot of guilt. I felt like maybe there was something more as a mom I could have done for my kid. So I wrote a letter to him apologizing. I apologized, that I had to take him off life support. And it was really, I struggled really bad. So I wrote my letter. I taped it to my lantern. My friends and family were there, and they all had lanterns. And if you've ever seen lanterns go off, they go pretty slow. So my friends and everybody let theirs off, and it came to me. And of course, mine's a yellow lantern because I like the color yellow. So I had my letter on there. And as soon as I let my lantern off, it's like it went straight to heaven. It was gone. And it's like it caught up to the other ones that were going really slow, and it was gone. And immediately, as soon as that happened, you could hear all my friends and everybody saying, oh my gosh, did you see the sky? Did you see that? The sky went from blue to pink, which is my other favorite color. And it went to pink immediately. And it's like, so that being said, I really didn't know if my letting go worked. Well, the next morning was Father's Day. My other son, Dalton, was with his dad. I was sitting outside having coffee. and I was typing on Facebook wishing everybody a happy Father's Day. And as I got ready to type my son who passed, Dalton, as I got ready to type his name and hit the letter D, a dragonfly flew by me. And I'm like, so that happened. And then I have another one that was about a week later. My friends who were part of my Bible study group couldn't go to the lantern ceremony that we had. And we were sitting at the park and we were all sitting at the picnic table talking. And I was telling my story about everything that had happened that day on Saturday. And as I was telling my story, some of my friends just kept looking at me like this funny look. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, after I finished, they told me that a dragonfly had landed on my head while I was telling my story. And I didn't even know it. I never saw it. I thought they were joking. And they're like, no, we're being serious. So a dragonfly had come up to me and landed on my head after I was telling my story. So so now that happens, and you had mentioned in one of your podcasts or one of our meetings one night about asking for things. And so my grandmother is also passed. And so when I think about her, lately I've been asking for red slug bugs, and I've gotten several since I've asked for my red slug bugs. So it's like, I don't know. I really feel it when it comes to those things. It's like, I totally feel it.
Friends, guess what? We're hosting two live in person events, an in person Angel Reiki School and an in person spiritual retreat. The first event is the weekend of June 1st in Oak Brook, Illinois, where I'm teaching the Angel Reiki School. This is where you get certified in mediumship, angel messages, and energy healing all at once. For a limited time, when you register for the Angel Reiki School in person, you'll also get my 8-week online Angel Reiki School. Visit theangelmedium.com/get-certified for details. You'll also find that link in the show notes. It's theangelmedium.com/get-certified. The second live in person event this year is a spiritual retreat, the weekend of October 4th in Oak Brook, Illinois. The spiritual retreat is different in that it's for your own personal growth. The spiritual retreat is all about your own personal healing, your journey, reconnecting with yourself, learning to connect with your angels. And I'm going to talk about all new angels that I've never talked about before anywhere. This spiritual retreat is going to leave you with more personal peace, purpose, clarity, and confidence than ever before. Learn more at theangelmedium.com/retreat. That's theangelmedium.com/retreat. So just to recap, we have the in-person spiritual retreat October 4th for your own personal healing and growth. And the in-person Angel Reiki School, June 1st, is where you become a medium, angel messenger, and energy healer all at once. Links to details are in the show notes. I can't wait to meet you and hug you in person. Oh,
So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Couple of things. I don't even think I've told this story on the podcast, but I want to share it here because it just reminded me of it when you talked about the pink, beautiful sky. And if anybody who's listening has ever been to the Midwest or lived in the Midwest, there are parts of the Midwest where you can see just the most beautiful sunsets. It's like being on a beach, but you're not. And especially here west of Chicago, there's certain roads that run north and south. And there's these houses that kind of bump up to these roads. And from the back of these houses, you're facing west, looking out the window, and you can just see the most large, magnificent, beautiful sky. And when I was graduating college, I didn't have a place to stay because my mom decided to move down to Florida, with my sister. I think it was like 2 days after my sister graduated high school and I had graduated college the month before. So I moved in with one of her friends for a couple of weeks. And when I was at her friend's house, there was again that road that ran north and south, and then her window faced out west. And you could just see the most magnificent
Mm.
sunsets. I love the sky. I love being on the beach. I have so many memories of just being with my grandparents and seeing these beautiful sunsets. And it's just something that is so meaningful to me and just brings me so much joy. So, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know that we put money in on a house. It didn't go through. Really felt called to the house, but again, angels knew better, and we ended up redoing our house, and we weren't planning on moving, but my husband found this house. I didn't even realize because it's on a hill and it's not the one next to the street, but it's a couple in, it still gets because it's on this slant, on this hill, we see the most magnificent sunsets in e ever that I've seen in my life. And I know what you mean about the sky turning different colors now because, it's been so warm here in Chicagoland. I feel so awful for the places that are affected by global warming in a negative way, but it has been like a really, really long fall and a really long spring and a very, very, very mild winter here. Um, Last night, there was just this purple sky, and I've never seen the sky turn purple, but the way that the clouds were and the way that the light was bouncing off and oh my goodness, the entire sky was just purple. It was incredible. So just telling you that because I think there are some of you, if you're buying a new house and you love sunsets, ask the angels for that house where you get to see the best sunsets. Cause I tell you, it's like getting a show every single day, a free show. Um, when it comes to your stories, Michelle, I just love that so much. And I love that your son is with you. I started having tinnitus, which some people said, it's the angels, right? And they kind of turn up a frequency. And I just heard it like it's in this ear to my right. Your son wants to talk about his brother. Now your son who passed was the oldest, is that right? And your son who's
Mhm.
here is younger. So they didn't get to meet here in the physical world, but your son wants you to know that he got to meet him on the other side and has spent lifetimes with him. And I even feel like they've lived as twins in past lives where getting to know your son who's here in this lifetime, he says is very much like getting to know him because they're just so close, so
My
similar.
son now was a twin, but we lost his twin.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that energy. Sometimes when that happens, you see 2 different souls on the other side. I don't see 2 souls,
Mhm.
I see the same soul.
Mhm.
Feel
Yeah,
that.
Dalton was my first, and then I had 2 miscarriages, and then I got pregnant with my son now, and he was a twin, and then we lost his twin. We heard the heartbeat several times, and then I think it was around 18 to 20 weeks, we lost his twin, which wasn't identical, it was a paternal twin.
Sure.
So,
Um, it's
I
that
feel in my heart it was
personality.
a sister, though. I really do.
Yeah. It's that personality because I feel like he really just wants you to know him. And I think so many times you look around at siblings and we can look so different from one another, but our mannerisms can be the same and the way that we talk is the same. And the personality is a lot the same. And he goes, "Just tell my mom that her getting to know Dalton is her getting to know me too."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always felt like maybe Dalton kissed Malachi before he was born because he had this little birthmark right here in between his eyes. And I always tell him, I'm like, I think that's from your brother. And I never had this little, I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't tell it, but I have this little mark on my cheek that almost looks like a heart. And I never had that before I had Dalton. And I always held the last day that Dalton was alive, I held him close and up here. And I often wondered whether or not he kissed me too, because I have that little mark that almost looks like a little heart on my cheek. So,
That's so beautiful. Absolutely, he
mm,
did. Absolutely, he did. The other thing that I feel so concretely coming through to you, Michelle, is just open your heart up to miracles because there's so much that he wants to bring through and he opens up your head and I keep hearing you say to yourself it's got to be hard, it's in order for it to come true, it's got to be hard, it's got to be a challenge, it's got to be work, it's got to be this and he goes, "Tell my mom it can be easy. Tell my mom it can just come through like a waterfall. Tell my mom, there's so much coming through to her, and, he just doesn't want you to limit what's coming through. Just know that it's for you." And he said, "You're so worthy. You're so deserving of those blessings, those miracles, those opportunities." And, and so just open your heart to them.
well,
Yeah,
I'll do that.
love it. Michelle, thank you so much for spending time with me here and for being an angel member. I so appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you greatly. I appreciate you letting me come here.
Oh, thank you so much, friend. For everybody listening, if you have angel stories to share, we would absolutely love to have you on the show. You can email us, or actually, it would be better go over to theangelmedium.com and use the contact form on the website to submit your angel story. Thank you so much, Michelle. Blessings to you.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Friends, I need your help reaching as many people as possible. If you'd like to support this podcast and help us spread more hope to the world, please book a session with me. Join my angel membership or take my angel Reiki school. What's the difference? If you'd like to know what messages your angels and loved ones have for you, you'll want to book a session with me. The angel membership is all about your own personal spiritual healing. The membership takes you on a spiritual journey that teaches you how to create your own heaven on earth. And the Angel Reiki School is for those who want to get certified in mediumship, angel messages, and energy healing all at once. These are 3 ways you can help us share a message of hope and love with more people than ever before. Register for one or all 3 at theangelmedium.com. That's theangelmedium.com. Now, let's pray together. As we do, I want you to pray in a way where you feel as though everything you want for yourself and the world has already come true, and you're giving thanks. Why? Because this is the best way to manifest. So let's begin. God, universe, source, thank you. We're so grateful that you've blessed this world with calm and peace for all. This calm and peace has spread like ripples, soothing the hearts of every soul. Thank you for opening our hearts to abundance, allowing each of us to live our most authentic life, and helping us to create our own heaven on earth. We thank you for the love and deep heart-to-heart connection that surrounds us every day in our relationships. We thank you for the abundance of health and aliveness we feel radiating from every cell in our and our families' bodies. Thank you for the gift of walking this life with us and guiding us every step of the way through your messages. We hear you through our own intuition, and we feel you walking right by our sides, and we overflow with gratitude. Thank you for financial abundance and abundance of opportunities, miracles, blessings, and prosperity in every way. We know that you want us to succeed so that we can show others how you want them to succeed too. Thank you for the boundless love, kindness, empathy, and compassion that binds us all together. Thank you for the laughter, fun, moments of pure delight that fill us every day, especially today. God, Universe Source, thank you for blessing us beyond measure and allowing us to use our souls, gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to serve the world. We love you. I love you. And in this we pray. Amen. Friends, we're working on some pretty major things over here. And if you wouldn't mind saying a little prayer that these things come to fruition if they're God's will, we'd so appreciate it. And please add a little prayer in for any specific thing you need right now, too. Have a beautiful, blessed day. And don't forget to submit your contact info at theangelmedium.com if you'd like me to channel the name of one of your angels for you. Sending you peace, bliss, and many blessings.